Good afternoon. I am so sorry about my ear. I keep on about my ear, but you know when we're in lockdown, my hairdresser, I have a hairdresser that comes to my home, and she's not even can't even come into my house at the moment. So I've got these big hair and everything. Oh, it's terrible, right mess I have. It's like Scooby Doo on a bad day. Anyway, anyway, before we start and speak to Pauline, couple of things. Well, we are now number 5 in the podcast charts. Yay! Yeah, keep going, guys. Thank you very much for all your support. We are still looking for sponsors because, as you know, this here, it's so expensive to keep this going and other stuff going. So anything at all, let us know. Also, don't forget at the weekends now we don't have very much because sometimes I want to time off because actually we are now booked up right up to April, say, so we're doing quite well with guests and everything. But we do try to get all our guests to come back, only the ones that we like Pauline. Hello, Pauline. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you very much. It's a lovely day here, so that helps.
Yeah, it's nice and sunny down here. It's really nice and sunny. I went out the other day and I really enjoyed it. It was cold, but I went out and yeah, even I got stuck in the mud, but that's another problem. But
Oh, that's
I'm
not
a,
so good.
I've got to drive a scooter around and I was going through the. I thought I hide behind my carer because my carer came out with me, so I thought I hide behind the fence, and she saw me, and I was trying to get out of the mud, get away from her quick, but couldn't get out, couldn't get out. Cause anyway, so how is Scotland? Everything all right up there?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, we're being cautious up here, but I mean the weather is nice.
Yeah.
Quite a lot in the last few today it's just gorgeous, so it makes things a bit better. And yeah, we're okay. Just I mean, I know we all feel that things are moving, but it's still going to take a wee while. And in terms of music, not quite sure how things are going to play out. But so we're just yeah, just been a bit cautious, I think, is what we're being up here. But we're okay.
Tell everybody, I've got people. We've all since you last come on, we've all changed around now because we've got a radio site and we got this site as well on now. So we got
Wow.
things coming to join in. So I've got a few people on my radio site. So can you tell everybody who you are and what you're about?
Okay, I'm Pauline Vallance. I live in Ayrshire in Scotland, and I'm a singer-songwriter and clarzach player. And the clarzach is a Celtic harp. It's smaller than a big concert harp. And yeah, you tend to get it in Scotland, Ireland, Wales, Brittany, kind of Celtic countries. So I started songwriting when I learned this harp about 12, 13 years ago. And I decided just a few years ago to make that my living after working for years in youth work. So I now, well, I had been doing that as my living up, up until this past year. I've been playing in all sorts of places. Writing songs is what I like to do, and performing. And I usually perform in everywhere from care homes and lunch clubs to restaurants to folk clubs to festivals. And I've even done some tours as well. Just over a year ago, I was touring in Australia and New Zealand. So I like to vary things. During lockdown, I was panicking that I wasn't going to be doing anything, but very quickly a whole load of online groups sprung up. And so I've been taking part in some Zoom groups, but mainly doing a lot of live streams and posting videos. I never used to
Mm.
make videos, but I now make videos on my phone and I post them not every single day, but many days. And some serious songs, and I do quite a bit of nonsense as well. And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, so I've actually been quite busy, but from
yeah.
from my house, I've no traveling involved. So that's kind of what I've been doing.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So Playing the harp, is that difficult to play? The harp?
No. It depends. It depends. I don't think of it as difficult because you produce the sound in a very easy way. I mean, sorry, my harp is here, but because
Yeah.
I'm so close to my phone, you basically place your finger on the strings and so actual sound production is easier than a lot of instruments. There's a lot of strings, and I think that's what puts people off.
Yeah.
But to me, you can see the strings, so you can kind of see what you're doing. And I think of it as kind of like a piano keyboard up on its side. And that makes sense to me because I did learn the piano years ago and it kind of makes sense. So it's as easy or as hard as you make it. People can play very, very complicated stuff on the harp. You can also play fairly simple things that sound quite good. So I'll give you a wee example, something like, and that's fairly simple what I was doing there, but it's can sound fairly effective. So the long and the short of it is it's complicated or as simple as you choose to make it, I would say.
It's like playing the guitar, really, isn't it?
Well, I don't play the guitar, and I really struggle with the guitar. So I can't. I find the guitar really difficult
Yeah.
because it's a different way. There's chord patterns, and I've never got my head around those. I find I play in chord patterns in the harp, but they make sense to me. I can see what my fingers are doing, and I make
Mm,
chord shapes with my hands, and that makes perfect sense. And that's how I kind of operate. That's how I think about playing the harp.
mm,
Guitar, because it's different shapes. It doesn't. I just haven't done it often enough, and it also used to make my fingers sore, which I didn't like. So I've
mm.
never made it with the guitar. So
How
it's
about
similar but different.
how about the banjo? How about the banjo, then, Pauline?
I've never tried the banjo. Again, I think it's different chord patterns because the strings are tuned to different notes. So again, I haven't tried that. I suppose for somebody that plays the banjo, they would say, well, it's as
Mm,
difficult or as complicated as you make it. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I've never really tried.
mm,
So to me, this is easier because this is what I do. So it's I think I think we each have instruments that we find we're more comfortable with than others. And if you're comfortable with an instrument, then you're going to want to play it. And if you're not comfortable for whatever reason, then it's going to seem really difficult. But
yeah.
those are different instruments for everybody. What I find easy, somebody else might find difficult, and what somebody else finds easy, I might find difficult.
Yeah. Let me take a couple of questions off the radio from that.
Hmm.
Glennis wants to know. Hi, Pauline. I've seen you play at a festival in Scotland. Oh,
Wow.
very talented. Yeah, you're very talented.
Oh,
Nice to see you again. I always watch you on your social media pages.
oh, thank you. I'm so glad you do. I've been having
Yeah,
such fun on social media.
yeah. You're
Oh,
very.
I wonder which festival. Do you know? Can you
Yeah.
ask which festival it was? I'm
Yeah, can you tell
intrigued.
me what festival was it? Just get back to me. I'm just waiting
Yeah,
now.
yeah, sure.
But I'm just trying to read the
Mhm.
rest of the message.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, how long did it take you to learn the harp?
Well, I would say I am still learning. I think that's the same with any instrument. You're always learning. Could never say I know everything about an instrument. Apparently, Pablo Casals, who was a very famous cello player, I think he lived until he was in his 90s. And somebody said, why do you practice for, however many hours every day when you're, in your 80s and 90s? And I think he said, I just hope, I hope to get better or I hope to get it right one day, something like that.
Mm,
But I actually did a gig within a few weeks of my first encounter with the harp. So as I say, I just did a couple of very simple things. I figured out that it makes such a nice sound that you can get away with doing fairly simple things. So I did gigs within just a few weeks of learning, but I would say I am still learning 12, 13 years on, so it never stops.
mm, mm. Um, Richard wants to know. Um, does is the harp heavy to carry around with, or do you fold it up and put it in a bag? I
Ah,
think you wish
I
you
wish
did. Yeah.
I wish I could. It is quite heavy. I mean, this isn't the you do get the big classical ones, but they tend to come with kind of special um cases with wheels and things. This I do have to carry this, but I've honestly, it's heavy. You pick it up and you think it's okay, but see, after about 100 yards, it's quite heavy. So I tend to have to drive to most gigs. It's quite heavy. I do have a smaller harp, which if I was flying, for example, I would take this one on a plane. So I would take my smaller one, which would fit in the overhead
Mm.
luggage, and I would carry it. So yes, the short answer is it's heavy.
Glennis,
Yes.
Glennis has just come back to me. She said, "I'm sure it was um, Glasgow Heart Festival. Heart Festival."
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think. There was a festival a few years ago that used. Oh, yeah, it could be. I mean, I played in various festivals in Glasgow. I'm just not sure which one it would be. Um, but yes, that's. I'm so glad. Thanks for remembering me. That's lovely.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah,
remember all the ones.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So when you play the harp, and say like if you were like a concert, say, do
Mm,
you kind of like? I'm sorry about all the repeated questions. I'm going to repeat them to you
that's okay. That's
because
all right.
it's just that we've got a new audience now, and we've got a few
That's
people on
fine.
here. You know,
Sure.
when you kind of like doing your kind of like gigs and everything, do you plan your kind of gig out, or do you kind of let people come in and say, "Oh, can you play?" I don't know, when the Saints go marching in, Pauline, or a song, whatever.
Okay. Well, I have different types of gigs, so I'll maybe explain a bit more. If I was doing a gig at, say, a folk club or something like that, I would I would plan it out. If it was, if it was a sitting down audience and they were just sitting watching you, I would really plan it out. And I would do a mixture. I like doing my own songs. I would do a mixture of songs. I would do some upbeat. I would do some slow. I would try and get a kind of balance. And if it's a gig like that, I would try and play it without music or words. So I would have that worked out. But there's different types of gigs. I also do, like, say I was doing a restaurant gig where you're kind of more background music, then I would probably go in with a pile of work. I would have an idea of what I was going to play, but I would maybe also have some extra words of stuff that I do. And and if depending on the mood, I might change it a wee bit, or somebody might ask for something, and I would do something similar to that. I also do, as I say, a lot of care homes and lunch clubs. And again, I go in with a pile of songbooks and stuff like that. And I would certainly do some to start off with, but then those kind of gigs, I would ask for requests and I would
Mm.
be able to change quickly. So it really depends on the type. If it's a kind of ticketed gig where people are sitting down watching you, then you really have to have your gig planned. If it's more background music or a sing along type gig, then I can be a bit more flexible. So there's never any easy answer. It's never a straight yes or no. A mixture.
What do you
I
what do
try and
you
be prepared for everything. I try and be prepared for everything.
what do you do when you go into like a old people's home? Sorry, not an old people's home, a nursing home,
Mhm,
say.
mhm. How do you mean? What do you mean? What do I
Yeah.
do? As in
What
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 type of
kind of
music?
music? Yeah. What kind of
Okay,
music?
okay. Well, I do a lot of them up here in Scotland. So I do a lot of kind of old time Scottish music, like Loch Lomond and Westering Home and Donald Where's Your Trousers and stuff that because the generation that I'm playing to, ones that they would know, they would have grown
Mm.
up with Andy Stewart and Kenneth McKellar, the White Heather Club. So I do a lot of those, and they
Yeah.
love those. But I also try and I mix it up a wee bit. If it was like now, if it was St David's Day, I would do some Welsh songs. St Patrick's Day, I would do some Irish ones. I would sometimes do songs from the films, like I would do things like Singing in the Rain or Somewhere Over the Rainbow or or New York, New York. A wee bit of a mixture. So
Yeah.
it's some good old sing along songs, and I love doing those gigs. Actually, I've been missing those in the last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. What's your first song you're going to do for us today?
Well, I actually thought because it is St David's Day, and I was thinking very fondly of this one of the care homes I play in, and the activity coordinator is from Wales. So I was messaging her today, wishing her happy St David's Day, and it put me in mind of this song. It's a beautiful Welsh song called Myfanwy. So I thought, in honour
Okay.
of St David's Day, I would do that.
Okay.
So yeah, just give me a wee second. Uh, George, sorry, go. Why is it anger o Myfanwy that fills your eyes so dark and clear. Your gentle cheeks so sweet and weak. Why blush they not when I draw near? Where is the smile that once most tender kindled my love so strong, so true? Where is the sound of your sweet words that drew my heart to follow you? What have I done, oh my Mephanwe, to earn your frown? What is my blame? Was it just play, oh sweet Mephanwe, to set your boyish love aflame? You truly once to me were promised. Is it too much to keep your part? I wish no more your hand, Mephanwe, if I no longer have your heart. Mephanwe, may you spend your lifetime beneath the midday sunshine's glow, and on your cheeks, oh, may the roses dance for 100 years or so. Forget now all the words of promise you made to one who loved you well. Give me your hand, my sweet Mephanwe, but one last time to say farewell. Give me your hand, my sweet Mephanwe, but one last time to say farewell.
Brilliant. I'll put you on widescreen because the next question what I want to ask you about is, can you explain to everybody about the harp? You know, about what it's all about, okay?
Okay, I'll try and move the harp a bit more into focus. I know it's a bit tricky.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is well, it's a Celtic harp, but it's sometimes called a lever harp. And what happens is these levers change the key. Sorry, yeah, I'll do it up here. So if I do that, then that's okay. So then if I do that for one of the keys, that's sharpening the string by a semitone. So that's how I change the key. So for some unknown reason, this harp, if I don't do anything, if none of my levers are down, then it's in the key of E flat. Just don't ask why, it just is. But then if I put some of the levers down, then I can put it into C. So it's now in the key of C. Okay. So the levers change the key. You have to fine tune the levers as well. On the other side, I can't really show you that, but on the other side, there's you can fine tune it by that. But to change key, you change the levers, and then basically you're just putting your fingers. So I'm trying to do it so you can actually see.
Yeah, we can see.
You place your fingers on the string. It's not so much plucking. You try not to do that so much. You try and place your fingers on, and then lift your fingers off, and that makes the sound. So it's a fairly simple instrument. It's just strings, and you're just making the strings vibrate. And as I say, you're changing the key by changing the levers.
Right.
So they're in octaves. You can't probably see from this, but there's red strings, and the red strings are C strings, and there's black strings, and they're F. So that's all. The rest are not coloured, but that's how you find your way around the harp. You look for the red strings and the black strings, and you find your notes in amongst those. So that's about as simple. I think that's about what I can do. So it's in octaves. So you have
yeah.
Okay, so I think that's a bit of an explanation.
Pauline, message here from Russell. He said, "Hi, Steve. Um, is the harp cost a lot of money?"
Okay. Now again, there's never any right or wrong answers. You can pick up a fairly small and fairly simple harp for not too much. I mean, I suppose it's one of those that the more you pay, the better instrument you're going to get.
Yeah,
You know, mine was a few hundred, and I'm really, really fond of it. I love this harp. So I mean, you can Google, you can look on harps. My traveling harp, for example, was a lot cheaper, but I mean, it's not such a good instrument, but it
mm,
does, you know, it does the trick, and I use it for traveling because I'm not too bothered. You know, if it got damaged, it wouldn't be the end of the world, whereas it would be with this one. So, I mean, if you look at them, they vary from a couple of hundred to a few thousand. And as I say, you kind of get what you pay for. I was quite lucky with this one; it was kind of middle range, but I'm really really happy with it. So it's yeah, no easy answer to that one. Some of them are expensive, some of them are cheap, but you tend to get what you pay for.
do you, Mark wants to know, do you ever snap the string sometimes?
A good question. Now, if you'd asked me that 2 weeks ago, I would have said I actually had a broken string 2 weeks ago. Now, touch wood with this harp, it doesn't happen very often. I've heard of other harp players where it happens a bit more. This is quite a robust instrument, touching a lot of wood. And it's not like the guitar. You don't change your strings every few weeks because A, it would be really expensive, and B, it would drive you insane. Because when you change a string, it takes a few days for the tuning to settle down. So you would never take all the strings off and put them on. It would drive you insane. Um, so I broke a string about 2 weeks ago, and it's tricky because you know you've then got a big gap, and I don't carry spares because you then have 34 strings to choose from. So I then have to order it. It's you know it arrives within 2 days. But if you're doing a gig in between, I then had to quickly change some of the things I was doing and avoid that string, which is
Mm,
possible. It's tricky, but it's possible. Um, so it does happen. It tends to happen when you've got an important gig. I have to say that's just the saw's law. Um, but you can work around it. You've got 34 strings, so if one of them's not there, you know, you have a lot of other strings to play with. So it's, you know, it shouldn't be the end of the world. You just have to do a wee bit of adjusting and order a new string. I'm sure there are some harp players that carry full sets of spares, but I really don't because it can be years that I can go without breaking a string, or you can break two or three in 1 year. It really just depends.
right, okay. Um, are you going to sing? You going to sing again for us?
I am indeed. Yes, I'm going to do a very new song for you, actually, because as I say, I like writing songs. So I'm just going to sort of glug of water. This is my newest song. I just wrote it about a week ago. So
Oh, right.
yeah, I'll tell you what it's about. It's I was thinking about, you know, we're all missing things during these lockdown times, and one of the things I really miss is going to cafes. I'm a really cafe person. And it's not even just the coffee and the cake, it's actually the life that happens in a cafe. You know, you can see people coming in and out, people that meet each other every week, people that are maybe meeting for the first time. I mean, I've seen people having interviews, you know, in the middle of a cafe. So I based this song on that. So it's called In Among the Teacups. So will I just fire ahead? Will I just start?
Yeah,
Yeah.
carry on. Yeah.
Okay. Um, oh gosh. Yeah. I couldn't remember how I started it there. It's a very new song. Here we go. In Among the Teacups. Tear-soaked tissues lie piled up beside the plate, surrounded by the food they never ate, delivering a bombshell along with soup and toast. Her world had crumbled, and now she's lost among the teacups and the formica tabletops. The laptop keys are clattering, her fingers moving fast. The novel's taking shape, she'll say if she is asked. She has no idea which words will stay or go, but she'll always remember it started there among the teacups and the formica tabletops. All life is there in amongst the tea and coffee. It's all played out among the crumbs and the steam. Trying not to listen to the nearest conversation, and finding out what's on the surface is never what it seems. In among the teacups. Mavis and Suzanne, they meet here every week, telling of their fears, the things they daren't speak to anyone else as they share a rich cream scone. What would they do without the chatter in among the teacups and the formica tabletops? Gavin's all dressed up, his best suit and tie, prepared as best he can, although his mouth is dry. This could be his boss, who's offering to pour before she starts the interview. There among the teacups and the formica tabletops. All life is there in among the tea and coffee. It's all played out among the crumbs and the steam. Trying not to listen to the nearest conversation, and finding out what's on the surface is never what it seems. In among the teacups. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. In among the teacups. La 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 la.
Well done. That's a very good song.
Oh, thank you.
So you could be in the cafe and watch and observe it, and all of a
Yep.
sudden a song can come to you, and you're thinking, "Oh, hey, it's a song here." So
Yep.
do you observe people when you go in the cafe? Then you know what I used to do. I used to go into a cafe, right? I used to
Mm,
sit there with a cup of coffee, and I
yep.
used to watch people coming in and coming out,
Yep.
right? Right, and I used to say to my wife, no, my wife, I used to say to her, right, I bet you this is what they're going to do, and we used to have a guess of what they used to going to do. It's a game of it was so funny.
Yeah.
Do you ever
Yeah.
do that? Do you ever kind of like observe people what they're going to do and
Yeah, I do. I think especially if you're there on your own. I mean, obviously, if you're there meeting somebody or you're there with other people, you tend to be busy with your own business. But if you're
mm,
there on your own, and I mean, I do, spend time in cafes. Sometimes it's in between things. I'm maybe on my way to a gig and I'm too early, or I'm dropping off a
mm,
family member, or I actually this time last year I went to a cafe to write a show. I was writing a show for the Edinburgh Fringe, so I actually went with my laptop to sit in a cafe, and you do look around and you can't and I think in cafes you can be quite close. Your tables can be quite close, so you can't help but hearing.
mm,
And it's good to guess. I mean, I have seen somebody getting interviewed in a cafe. I mean, you can see it. You look around and you see there's people in business meetings. There's people, doing all sorts of stuff. There's people
mm,
meeting. There's people maybe quite nervous. It's a great place to observe things. And originally, my idea for the song was following one story, but then when I started writing it, I thought there's so many different things in a cafe. The whole point is that it's all life is there. There's different things going on, and yes, so I do. Yes, I do observe. So if you see me in a cafe, don't run away from me. I'm not. I might not observe you, but I might.
no, I'll get you to buy me a breakfast.
Yeah.
But what? But what? So why couldn't you just make a song up like a breakfast, like the frying pan is on the cooker, it's frying my eggs and sausages, or something like
Sounds
that.
like a starting song.
Yeah. So, where do you get all these ideas for your? Because many people will say say, hang on for a second, um, what's, who is she? Where's she going? Where's she getting all this ideas for her music thing?
Yeah.
Where do you do it?
Okay. There's loads of different. I mean, sometimes. Yeah, I mean, you can write ideas down. I mean, sometimes you're out somewhere and you think, well, that'd be a good idea. So you might write loads of ideas down, but you might only develop one idea in 10 or 20 actually into a song. So it's good to have lots of ideas. So you start from lots and lots of ideas, and then you think, well, what could I do with it? Because a song's got to say something. Um, like it's not enough just to say, yes, cafes are lovely and I miss them. You've got to think, well, what are the stories there? You've got to kind of have a lot of information and a lot of things going on. Sorry, I'm getting an echo now. Oh, it's gone. It's fine. Yeah. So you're going to try and say something with a song. So you want to have lots of ideas, but then think, well, what one can I develop? So I get ideas from lots of things. Sometimes it's observing people, trying to imagine what somebody's story is. I get ideas from books. I've written quite a few ideas based on some of my favourite books. I've been doing a lot of writing with a writer called Rakesh Banot. I might do one or two of our joint songs. So obviously he's had a lot of ideas, and some of them I've turned into songs. I go to a couple of songwriting groups, and we do exercises sometimes where they present us with, could be titles, or we have to imagine things. So there's lots of things. If you're really, really, if one is really, really stuck, then sometimes it's an idea just to sit with a notebook and write down anything that comes into your head for 10 minutes. And out of that, you might get one spark of an idea. So there's ideas everywhere. It's just what one are you going to develop, what one strikes home. There's certain stories appeal to me more than others. And you get the more you do it, the more you realize what's worthy of a song and what isn't. But you want to create an atmosphere with a song, so it's got to be something that resonates, something that you think people will identify with. So there's lots of different ways of approaching songs. I'm actually doing a songwriting workshop next weekend, and I've never done one before, so I'm very excited. It's a part of an event called One Weekend in Falkirk, and I'll be doing a workshop on turning ideas into songs or turning poems into songs, because it's not every, a lot of poems you can't just take them and stick them onto a song. There's various processes, so I'm going to be doing that. So I'm very excited about that. So I like songwriting.
Tell everybody about that then while you're on. So then everybody, can they join? Can they be able to join?
Yeah, it's going to be held on Zoom, but there is an event page. If you look up One Weekend in Falkirk, they've got a Facebook page, and if you look that up, it would give you the it would give you the link so you could register for the event. And also on my Facebook page, I have the event as well. So you could just go into the event and register interest, and you would get the Zoom link to join. It's just an hour and a half. It's not a huge big long thing. It's not, it's going to be fun. We're going to try and create a song like there and then. But I will be, talking about some of the songs that I've been writing recently and just going through some of the processes that involves. So yeah, so just check One Weekend in Falkirk next Saturday, 4:30 until 4 o'clock to 5:30. Yes, an hour and a half. And you can go into the One Weekend in Falkirk page or my Pauline Vallance music Facebook page. So that's going to be that. I'm very excited.
Can you sing the last song for me, Pauline?
Sorry, I'm losing you a wee bit. Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, can you do a last song for us, please?
Yes, I do indeed. Now, I was trying to vary it today because one thing I do like is to mix things up.
Yeah,
so I have talked before about doing one song to the tune of another, and so I do have one of those for you, because they're fun. So I've got, we'll see how we do for time, but I've got at least one of those for you because I like. So for people that haven't seen me before, I started doing these at the beginning of the first lockdown in honour of Tim Brooke-Taylor, the comedian, and you take the words of one tune to the song of another, usually quite a different song, and you just mix them up, and it's meant to be funny, but it keeps me amused as well. So there's loads of them on my YouTube channel, Pauline Vallance YouTube channel, if you're interested. I usually dress up for the videos. I haven't dressed up for today except for a hat, but anyway. So I don't know whether to tell you what songs I put together or whether to leave you guessing. What do you think? Will I leave you guessing or will I tell you?
Yeah, just leave us guessing. Go on.
Just guessing. Okay, I will do. people of a certain age will get the tune more than others, so I'll just start it. Here we go. Here is one song to the tune of another. Owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful sea green boat. Took some honey, plenty of money, wrapped up in a 5-pound note. Owl looked up to the stars above and sang to a small guitar. Lovely pussy, pussy my love, what a beautiful pussy you are. Pussy said, you elegant fowl, how charmingly sweet you sing. Let's be married, too long we've tarried, but what shall we do for a ring? Sailed away for a year and a day, to the land where the palm tree grows, in the wood where Tiddywink stood, with a ring at the end of his nose. Dear pig, will you sell for a shilling your ring? Said the piggy, I will. Took it away and were married next day by the turkey who lives on the hill. They dined on mince and slices of quince, which they ate with a runcible spoon. Hand in hand on the edge of the sand, they danced by the light of the moon. Dear pig, will you sell for a shilling your ring? Said the piggy, I will. Took it away and were married next day by the turkey who lives on the hill. Dined on mince and slices of quince, which they ate with a runcible spoon. Hand in hand on the edge of the sand, they danced by the light of the moon. Dined on mince and slices of quince, which they ate with a runcible spoon. Hand in hand on the edge of the sand, they danced by the light of the moon. Hand in hand on the edge of the sand, they danced by the light of the moon.
Brilliant. Now, what I came across a song the other day.
Yeah.
Which I never heard before from you, was Working Life.
Oh, yeah.
And because you won, didn't you? You went into a festival and you won that with that song.
I did, and I was so chuffed because it was actually the third song that I'd ever written. It was only my third song, and so I thought I had a bit of a nerve because a lot of the other songwriters there had obviously been writing for years and had like big back catalogues of songs. And it was my third song, and I thought, well, I'm just doing this for the experience. But I won that competition, and I was so chuffed. I mean, who knows, if I hadn't won it, I might not have had such confidence as a songwriter. I don't know. I think I would have carried on writing, but it gave me a lot of confidence. So, well, yeah, well spotted. I'm proud of that song, actually. Yeah.
I mean, tell me the meaning of that song.
I can indeed, and I hadn't expected. But I mean, I could also. I mean, I can play it for you. Like, right,
can you play it?
The meaning
can
of
you
the
play
song.
it then?
Yes, I will do. I'll tell you a wee bit about it first, because it's one of those. Right, I used to work for the local authority. I worked in youth work, and for anybody that works for a local authority, you'll know that over the years, things change. Budgets get cut. You think you're this vital person, but you're kind of a number in a very big, organisation. So I was feeling a bit undervalued. I'd been moved from one job to another. I'll not go into all the details, but I was feeling a bit, my job was a bit precarious. I was feeling a bit worried. And what I was thinking was that, I was looking around at my workmates thinking that we all work together, but how much do we really know about each other? We know so-and-so works in a certain field. We know what their expertise is, but, what happens in their lives. So I was just thinking about that. I was feeling a wee bit disgruntled, a little bit pissed off, if I'm allowed to say that, at work. And just writing this song about what I did outside work made me feel a wee bit better. So so I wrote this song called This Working Life. So I'm just going to take a wee glug of water. Now I'm hoping I'm going to say I'm hoping I remember how it goes. This is crazy. This is one of the songs I've probably performed the most, but I'm just going to make sure I'm in the right key for one thing. I haven't done it for a while because I've been so busy writing new songs. Yeah, so I'll do it for you now, and I'm proud of this song. I have to say I'm very proud of it, but it was my third song. So here we go. This is This Working Life. Day after day I go in and I work all the day, and I'm surrounded by people who think that they know me and say that they do, but they don't really know me. No, they really don't know me at all. For I bake emperor biscuits, I go for long walks, I use satin sheets, but I leave on my socks. I listen to jazz, but I like to play rock. When I play lead guitar, I feel people might mock. I like watching films, especially film noir. When I go salsa dancing, I feel quite a star. Daily I carry out tasks and I do what I'm told, and they think that that's all there is to me, and I'm getting old, but they're wrong. They don't really know me. No, they really don't know me at all. For I bake emperor biscuits, I go for long walks, I use satin sheets, but I leave on my socks. I listen to jazz, but I like to play rock. When I play lead guitar, I feel people might mock. I like watching films, especially film noir. When I go salsa dancing, I feel quite a star. They don't really know me. No, they really don't know me at all.
Beautiful song. Beautiful
Thank you.
song. Beautiful. Um,
Thank you.
before I let you go, what's the where's the best? What's that question? John wants to know. Is on it. It says,
Mhm.
where if you had one person who you would love to play with in concert, who would it be?
Ooh, my goodness. Well, I think somebody that's come to mind is I have a Scottish songwriter who I really, really rate. I think she's amazing. She's called Karine Polwart. She's you might have heard of her down there. She's maybe better known in folk circles, but she's pretty well known. I would love to appear with her. But the other one, if I'm allowed two or a possible two, I would also I love Bruce Springsteen. I would love to be on stage with the boss. I mean, who wouldn't? I would even just
Yeah,
be content to walk across the stage. I wouldn't even have to do anything. So either of those two, or preferably both.
yeah. Pauline, ever professional. Thank you very much for your time today, and
You're very welcome. Anytime, honestly, I'd love chatting to you because the questions are really, really interesting. I enjoy answering them. So
yeah.
I'm happy to come back anytime.
No, I'll get my wife onto it now and contact you. Well, there
Fantastic.
you go. That's Pauline Vallance, and
Thank you,
lovely.
guys.
Yeah,
Cheers.
all the way
See
from
you all soon.
Scotland. Bye bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye bye. And she's all the way from Scotland. Please go on her website and everything and follow her. There you go, guys. I'm going to be back around about 8 o'clock with the wonderful Susan Lee. Until then, bye for now.